What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Tape Never Lies pregame show. I'm Ivan Vargas. Big Steve should be with us shortly. He definitely had a few things he had to do. Obviously, Big Steve's a busy man, but he promised me that he would get here. I hope he does. Nonetheless, like I said, it should be a great show. I'm happy to be here with you guys. Bears, Texans, Sunday Night Football. Everybody's looking forward to seeing if the Bears can bounce back offensively from what they did week one. The defense, obviously, we're impressed with. We want to see that continue. But before we get a little bit deeper, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the Tape Never Lies Network. Make sure you become a patron at www.thetapeneverlies.com. So, a different scenario this time, right? Completely different scenario. You're walking into what I feel like is going to be hostile territory. You have Caleb Williams, the number one overall draft pick. You have Stroud on the other side being the number 2 draft pick last year, but being pretty much offensive MVPs. He was amazing as a rookie. So you have this kind of quarterback comparison going. On top of that, you also have 2 defenses that are really, really good, I feel like, and it can be dominant at times. So 2 teams that are definitely on the rise. One maybe a little bit ahead of schedule than the other. We'll see tonight. But nonetheless, the Chicago Bears offensively need to produce more than what we saw last week against Tennessee. And it starts with protection. It starts with protection up front. The offensive line, you heard on the Bear Down with Big Steve on Monday how Steve was very critical of the offensive protection, how the center was getting blown up, how our guy, oh my gosh, the right guard, oh my gosh, I keep forgetting his name. I'm forgetting his name right now. Jeez, but either way, the middle of the line was getting blown up, and I'm completely in agreement with Big Steve on that. Nate Davis. I don't know why the name escaped me. Maybe because I want him to go away. That's probably why I want the name and the person to just leave my thought process. But nonetheless, he wasn't good enough. Neither was the center, Coleman Shelton. So that is a huge point of concern and a huge focal point for me tonight. How does the offensive line, especially those 2 spots, produce and be able to protect Caleb Williams? Too many times was Caleb Williams immediately in pressure where, I mean, in his lap, he's in his drop back. He can't even go anywhere because he's constantly in pressure. But it wasn't as bad as I thought it might have been, but it definitely wasn't as good as I wanted it to be either. So I want to see adjustments on the offensive line. Can Simo, Chris Morgan, the offensive line coach, be a difference maker? Can he be a coach that develops on offensive line? Finally, it's you're in year 3 now. It's time to start getting these offensive linemen in check and on the right path. But I feel like there should be an adjustment. Mike right here, Mike Call. I'd start Pryor. If it was me, Mike, I'd start Pryor as well. I think I could speak for Big Steve when when we both say start Pryor. I think Steve is kind of leaning towards that because of the disappointment of Nate Davis. Speaking a little too quickly, but I feel like if you do that, make sure that that's where you're going to stick with, not a tag team, not we're going to go with you for a couple of series and then we're going to go. I don't want to see this switching in and out. Give the guy his due. Give the guy the game. Let him find some rhythm with the offensive line. Let the 5 that are out there, or the 5 that are going to stay out there and stay healthy enough to be out there consistently, find a groove together. And that's all I ask for, really, in this game. I want to see consistent offensive line play. Funkster Jones, yes. Yes, run the ball more, run the ball a lot. Last week, this team ran the ball 30 times with Joe Mixon, and Joe Mixon had over 100. I actually have the stats right here. Joe Mixon had 159 yards. Now, I'm not saying that might be what is going to happen here, but you need to have more confidence in the two running backs that are at the top of your depth chart. And I'm talking about DeAndre Swift and I'm talking about Khalil Herbert. I want to see more of them. I don't want to see, more of third or fourth string backups, gadget players. I don't want to see that. That reminds me too much of the Matt Nagy, Luke Getsy type of offensive scheme. And I don't hate on Waldron already. I'm not going to hate on him. He tried some things out. They didn't work. It's time to adjust. It's time to be the Chicago Bears and maybe not so much the Seattle Seahawks. So for me, I want to see improvement with the offensive game plan. I want to see the middle of that offensive line hold its own, whether that be with a replacement or not. I don't care. Obviously, Ryan Bates won't be involved. And you know what? Let's go ahead. That's a good segue into jumping into the inactives. And one inactive I'm so fucking happy about. I can't wait to see how the Bears look without this fucking player on the field, and that's Velus Jones. Velus Jones will not be active today. Velus Jones is a part of the inactives, and that's where he should fucking stay for the rest of the year. Keenan Allen, unfortunately, is a part of that. Kyrie Blasingame, Dominique Robinson, Noah Sewell, and Kyron Amagaji. Unfortunate about those other guys, but I think this is long overdue for Velus Jones. So, hey, I feel like there's a silver lining in everything. So, Keenan Allen goes down. At least you take out Velus Jones as well. I'm sure we won't have a fumble on the kick return this game, God willing. But nonetheless, Velus Jones. Funkster with the nickname of the day. Fail Us Jones. Sit your ass down. Yes. Fail Us Jones is not in the game today. He is inactive, and that I feel like is a plus already for the Chicago Bears as it is. So, regardless of that, regardless of the jokes, it sucks that we don't have a Keenan Allen. It sucks about Blasingame. We're going to need guys to step up. They had Colin Johnson being elevated from the practice squad, so he'll be involved tonight. Colin Johnson, 6'6". You saw him in game one at the excuse me, 1 second. Excuse me. You saw him at the Hall of Fame game have an excellent game. I also feel like Colin in the red zone, and I was speaking about this right after that. Colin in the red zone can be an effective, asset in that position. So look for him, big body, 6'6". 200. He could go up and get it. We saw him. Let's see if they utilize him as such. You have a lot of big body wideouts and tight ends. Wideouts and tight ends in this game for the Chicago Bears. So why don't we utilize them in the red zone? Why don't we get that running game going? That was something that I felt like the Bears 100% got away from last week, and I need them to establish that. I thought DeAndre Swift was gaining some ground. I thought he was gathering rhythm with how they were utilizing him early in the ground game, but then it just kind of disappeared. And then it was, let's throw Velus out there. Let's go spread a lot. And it was just like, I understand we're down, but it doesn't mean that you should stray away from the running game. Like you could still use draws. You could still use counters, and you could still utilize the running game offensively, positively for you, even though you're down. I don't see how you can get away from that this game, especially with the defense that they have. Another fast defense. I mentioned it on Keeping It 100 this Wednesday. I felt like the Bears last week should have attacked the middle of the defense a lot more than they did. And you could see that. You could see how they were sideline to sideline. The defense was flowing. They were flying for Tennessee. When you could attack that middle, I felt like maybe you would be able to slow them down. Maybe you would get them flat-footed. Maybe you could finally, have some type of rhythm, middle, and then boom, bounce it outside on either a counter or a off tackle, whatever you want to do. But nonetheless, you need to find some type of rhythm with this running game in order for the quarterback to find success, in order for this offense to find success. You have a plethora of running backs. Let's utilize them as such. But make sure you use the guys that you're paying big money to get you these big time downs. So anyway, nonetheless, looking at the Texans' last game, they played the Indianapolis Colts, who lost today against the fucking Packers. So they didn't do us any favors, jerks. Nonetheless, last week, CJ Stroud, 24 of 32, 234 yards, 2 touchdowns. Joe Mixon, 30 carries, 159 yards, a touchdown, 5.3 yard average. Nico Collins had 6 receptions, 117 yards. Tank Dell had 3 for 40. Stephon Diggs had 6 for 33. He had 2 tutties. Joe Mixon had 3 catches as well for 19 yards. Dalton Schultz, 3 for 16. And they had Hutchinson, Jordan, and Ogumbawale. I fucked it up. See, I fucked it up. They had another young man catch another one for 3 yards. So that's how they were spreading it around. That's just how they operate their offense. If we want to look at their rankings right now, according to NFL.com, the Texans have the 4th overall offense, the 15th overall defense, the 11th passing, and the 11th rushing team in the NFL. So we'll, as far as offense is concerned, we'll see what happens. As far as the Bears, offense, dead last. Defense, number 8. Huh? Offensive passing, dead last. Rushing, 25th. So it's needless to say, you need to find your rhythm. You need to get things going. As frustrating as it was week 1, I still feel like there's hope. I still feel like this team was maybe, or the outlook was maybe 1 or 2 big passes away from people talking positively as opposed to negatively about this offense. Nonetheless, there were definitely glaring holes within that offensive line. There was too many mishaps in the passing game, too many just missed opportunities, regardless of whether it was a quarterback's fault or the receiver's fault or the game plan's fault. It just, there was too many to say that you had a positive day on offense. Nonetheless, the Bears got the W. The team won. Let's focus on tonight. I feel like a heavy run game early, a lot of play action. I want to see Caleb under center a lot more than he was in week 1. I feel as if you can get, if you could slow this game down, right? Keep that offense off the field as much as you can have some success. Now, the Bears defense also they have to do their job. I don't want to see mistakes in the secondary. They had a pretty solid game plan last week. There was only a few things that really bothered you, and if the offense were to have held up its end of the bargain and put points on the board, like I said, the game looks totally different. It's a totally different outlook on how this team is going. But nonetheless, the defense did their job. I feel like the defense will do the same thing this week. Um, the running game of the Texans is a concern because this Bears defense is fast like any of the other top defenses. They have a three-man trio in Billings, um, Dexter, and Pickens in the middle that I feel like are going to be tested tonight. I feel like the Texans will run right at us, or will run right at the middle of this defense and challenge us. So, excuse me. So I want them to be prepared for that. I want to see a lot more aggression early. A lot, I felt like there were a lot less blitzes at the beginning of the game than there were at the in the second half of the game in week one. I want Matt Eberflus to start to become a little more liberal with how he uses his blitz because I don't want us to get under the gun and then all of a sudden you're like, all right, now I got to start getting desperate. Now it's just justified for me to use these certain blitzes. And for me, it's like, no, maybe you have to gamble. Maybe you have to take a shot here and there to shut something down and change the trajectory of the game or at least the first half if you feel such. So I want there to be more aggression on defense in the first half than there was. I know it was great to see the adjustments made or at least the aggression be turned on in the second half, but I want to see it from start to finish. I want to see 4 quarters of nonstop pressure, aggressiveness, on the defensive side and the offensive side of the ball. So we'll see how that plays out. I'm thinking as far as Caleb Williams is concerned, right? Everybody wants to see him perform better, obviously, than he did last week. I would just say, just stay within yourself. He had the outlook as, hey, man, we didn't have a good week, but the Bears won. Okay, I like that. I like how you are even keeled, even though it wasn't a great operation. I need to see you take this next step. And I know it's only week 2, but I need to see these plays connect. I know he mentioned how he doesn't get nervous. For me, you can't tell me that you didn't have some type of jitters going in or even during that game. Maybe I'm wrong, but nonetheless, that's kind of how it looked to me. It's over. You got your feet wet. It's the end of week 1. You're already on to week 2. I know the spotlight's on you, but this is where you thrive, is it not? I mean, the spotlight's been on you for a very long time. And Sunday Night Football, week 2 in Houston against a team who went to the playoffs against a quarterback who is immediately done what you want to do. You aspire to have a first rookie season like CJ Stroud had. So this has all the storylines. It has all the makings of a great one. I just want to see how Caleb steps up. This is your second game. Like I said, you had mistakes in the first one, but this is when the spotlight's on you. We're testing you quick, and I want to see how you respond to not only the poor performance, but the spotlight being bright and this being on national television, your very first game in the spotlight. Let's see how you respond. That's my biggest concern. Obviously, I'm sure that's your biggest concern. I have nothing negative to say about Caleb. I just want to see how he responds to what happened last week and how this Bears team plays under the bright lights. So we'll see what happens. Let's take a look at some of these comments. Have to scroll up. I appreciate all you guys joining me. Dave. So let's see. Colin Johnson. We'll go with Shane. Colin Johnson is plus 650 for an anytime TD. So if anyone would like to make some money tonight, I am definitely going to go ahead and check that out right after this, because I could see him. I could see him being utilized right in there in the red zone. Uh, so yeah, definitely go ahead and maybe put whatever, put a 5 spot down. Not saying go ahead and put your mortgage on Colin Johnson tonight, but maybe you might make a little pocket change in the meantime. T-Bone, I want to see Caleb under center and running the ball. I'm tired of seeing shotgun all the time. Absolutely correct. I'd mentioned before that spread wide in the red zone. I'm like, come on, big dog. Come on, Shane. Come on, Shane. Not our Shane, but Shane Waldron. Come on, Shane. What are you doing here? What are we doing here? We need to give the illusion of the run, even though it's not even coming. We need to be able to be a under center team if we have to be, and give the defense multiple looks. I thought it was just too much spread. Too much spread. We see that all the time. Let's go ahead and try something different. Scottish Bear, the Bears on prime time are like a drunk family member who's embarrassing at the family gathering. Hopefully they sobered up. Hopefully they sobered up, Scottish. Hopefully they've they went ahead, they got to rehab, they got the help they need, and, and they're not embarrassing us anymore. Hopefully that this is the new Chicago Bears that we were hoping to see last week as far as the offense is concerned. The defense, hey man, very impressive. We've seen that before. Now let's see a step up in offense. Let's go to let's see. Uh, let's go to John S. Rome is number one. He is regulated to a number three. I think he'll step up more as a number two. I just want Rome to be, bro. Just find his niche wherever it needs to be. Whether it be slot receiver right now, whether it be a guy that steps up on third. I don't, whatever he needs to do to find his comfortability in the league. I'm cool with Rome doing. Like just find where you fit in, bro. And I think everything else will come to play. Then you can start working on things. Find the thing that you're best at doing and exploit it to the max, and then you can start building upon other things. Jeremy Ivan, did you see Brock Bowers today? 9 catches, 98 yards. I know you and Phil liked him in the draft. Hopefully the Bears can ground and pound tonight. I did not watch Brock Bowers today. I'm sorry, I have to probably go back and check it out. Yeah, I'm not surprised. You know what I mean? I'm not surprised that he's having a big game. That's what I expected of him. He's a guy that could play multiple positions. He's a guy that's he's done it time and time again at Georgia. I was expecting this in the NFL. Hopefully it continues for him and he has a great career. But yeah, I want the ground and pound tonight as well, Jeremy. I want them to run the football. I want them to run the football purposely. Like there can't just be these random, here's a dive here, here's a dive there. No, let's try to beat up these guys. Let's try to beat up these guys. Let's try to get our guys going forward. Let's see if they could get lathered up and going downhill and start to gain some momentum, mentally as an offensive line. And maybe that can start to, form the unit that we need. Hopefully we see a different story at the right guard than we did last week. I'm not sure unless there's a change of personnel, but we'll see. Nate Davis, I think I've seen enough. Me and Big Steve were talking about it on Monday. He's very upset with the performance. So hopefully Pryor's in there tonight. We could see somebody different. If the Bears believe in this rotation. So, let's go ahead and see guys that are that have performed at that position as well. Because, we had Ryan Bates, he obviously could play that position, but he was dealing with an injury and now he's on the IR. So, I mean, nonetheless, it is what it is. Let's go ahead and see how Nate Davis performs. Let's see how hopefully Pryor performs. The center, Coleman Shelton, there's too many times on your back. Too many times did I see him, just kind of be outmanned, like just overpowered. A little more aggression from him. It won't be Ryan Bates subbing in, so it's Coleman Shelton. If some people had mentioned Doug Kramer, I would like to see if Coleman Shelton has the same performance as he had last week. I'm gonna have to call for a Doug Kramer to step in. If I see Coleman Shelton getting pushed back 5 yards into the backfield, into the lap of Caleb Williams, I'm going to have to start calling for a switch to Doug Kramer because it just can't happen this many times where we don't have a center who can block or pass protect and not get overpowered. We've seen Mustafa. We've seen Shelton now. We've seen the other guy from the Packers, Patrick. All these guys, and it just hasn't been good. We haven't had stability at the center position since hell, Olin, and I know we had guys like Daniels and Whitehair, but they decided to put those guys at guards. James Daniels was the best, according I believe he was the best center in the draft. Was that what they were talking about, or one of the best centers in the draft? They move him right away to guard. Put him at guard and find somebody else that they could just patchwork in. Yeah, I'm tired of seeing that. I would hope that I'm wrong about Coleman Shelton and he steps up and it was just a bad game, but we shall see. Let's go ahead and see. Lucas, there were more holes in the line than there were Justin Fields fanboys lodge. Yeah, it was not good. It wasn't a positive whatsoever. John S. Waldron was horrific last week. If he can't show that he can learn and adjust, it could be a very frustrating season. I think the Bears are hip to the fans' frustration. I don't think there's going to be a very long and strong out battle for how the Bears operate. I think if it's bad, there's going to be adjustments right away because you've seen the Bears move on from offensive coordinators. We moved on from a head coach. This is all recent years still. So we're already moved on from the first offensive guy in this regime. It's time for you to step up. I don't think Eberflus with the progression and development of the offense, or excuse me, of the defense, has to worry about a lot. I think you need to find somebody that could put together this offense. Whether it be more under center, play action, what have you. I feel like last week's spread idea of where we're going to pay, even though we were behind, I feel like that's not where we want to be. That's not where you want Caleb to be right now. So make sure you utilize this running game. I'm going to say it again until I'm blue. Utilize the running game. Everybody's in the comments. I mentioned my very first comment was, hey, I'm looking for this Chicago Bears offensive line to step up. The middle of the offensive line, whether it be Shelton and Davis, whether it be Shelton and Pryor, whether it be Kramer and Pryor, I don't give a fuck. That they need to step up and they need to, I'll just say it bluntly, they need to not get their asses blown back 5 to 6 yards when there's a pass rush coming. It just cannot happen that way. We will not succeed with that type of play in the middle of our offensive line. It can't happen. It definitely should not happen. I don't know. I can't say it won't happen, but it definitely should not fucking happen. And if it does happen, I'm going to have a lot more questions about personnel as far as coaching, personnel as far as, guys on the offensive line. There's going to be a lot of real, frustration immediately. This team was supposed to be built, and this is what they told us. This team was ready to go. They have everything pretty much set up. They even believe in the quarterback, and so do I. And I still believe that this team is ready to go. But you need to be able to win these types of games in order to win the, I guess you could call it approval, but you need to be able to show us that you can do it. Be able to show us that you could go into hostile territory and come out victorious. Be able to show us that you can make adjustments from week to week, having a poor outing last week on offense to having a positive outing this week. I'm not saying 500 yards. I'm not saying 6 touchdowns. I'm just saying give me a better performance than you did last week. With the defense playing it consistently, I would feel like this team will still be in it. Nonetheless, I did have the Bears losing this one. It is what it is. I see what we did last week. It is going to be a work in progress, or let's just say we're going to have to grow with the season offensively. But this is one where I feel like if you can bounce back from and win, now people are going to look at you a lot differently. Now people are going to take you more serious because you went out there last week. You offense had a dud, defense did what they did, but same old Bears, right? If you could change that narrative tonight with your offensive performance, I'll say the biggest I wouldn't say as far as player, because I'll say the guy to focus on tonight, the guy with the biggest target on him tonight, Shane Waldron. How do you get this offensive rhythm going? How do you get Caleb Williams comfortable and confident under center with the rhythm of the offense? How do you do that? That's what I want to see 100%. Like, that's the only thing I want to see. How do you adjust from your mistake last week or your mistakes last week to this week? We already know about the pass rush and the defense of the Houston Texans. They have a pretty good defense, a pretty good pass rush. Last week, secondary gave up some plays, so we'll see how that plays out. But nonetheless, you need to be aware of guys like Merciless, guys like oh my God, can't believe I'm forgetting my boy right now. That Danielle Hunter. Thank you. I don't know why I wanted him on the Bears. I wanted Danielle on the Bears. You got to be aware of them. You got to be aware because they could go ahead and change the outcome of a game with a strip sack fumble, any type of, just even a pressure. Let's say they, move Caleb off his mark. The ball is fluttering. God forbid a pick happens. But nonetheless, you get my point. These guys can change outcomes of games. These guys are playmakers. Be aware of them. I'm looking for a great game, man. To be honest with you, I think the Bears might be able to come up short or be able to be competitive, but I think they will come up short in this one. I hope they prove me the fuck wrong because I'll be happy to be wrong in the post game with the Bears victory. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up. I appreciate everybody being here. Looking forward to it. I think Big Steve is a little bit busy. So, maybe he'll pop in for BHL. That would be awesome. We'll get everybody's perspective then. Make sure you tune in to the halftime show. I will be popping in after the first quarter at the 2-minute warning of the second quarter and, kind of the same format on our shorts, kind of giving you my idea. So check out our shorts as well, or excuse me, kind of giving you my thoughts on the quarter. So check out our shorts as well. Definitely watching some of the other games as I'm trying to wrap up this with you guys now. Well, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate everyone being here. I'm hoping that we get a Bears victory, although my prediction is a little grim. Nonetheless, thank you guys. Tune in to the Bears. Tune in to the post-game show, BHL with Shane and Phil. Tune into the halftime show if you're a patron. And like I said, I'll be popping up with the shorts here and there after every quarter. All right, guys, that's enough for me. I appreciate you guys. For Big Steve, I'm Ivan Vargas. This has been the TTNL pregame show on the Tape Never Lies Network. Peace. Bear down.